Hi everyone, this is Jim. Welcome to this Blitz chess postmortem, a postmortem of my Blitz game number 432. My opponent here with the white pieces is Giro Savonarola. So he's a famous 15th century Dominican friar. I went and looked this up afterwards because the name was familiar to me. Somewhat of a controversial figure. He died in 1498, so I guess I'm dealing with his ghostly remains here. Anyway, he kicked off with d4, and I replied d5. My opponent goes c4, and so we get actually the normal Queen's Gambit decline, which I've been trying to get for a while. Gives me another chance to try out the Chigorin defense. You see, that's the fourth choice here after the usual pawn moves, e6, c6, or taking the Queen's Gambit accepted. But the Chigorin is a somewhat semi-respectable defense, and the normal replies here are the knight moves or taking. But e3 is also a way to play, and we get a pretty quiet setup. I guess it's more in the spirit of the Chigorin to play e5 here. That's probably what I should have played. I went with e6, which is a solid way to play, and I get an okay position out of the opening. I see he goes for the exchange here. Yeah, let's go back to the notation page. We're pretty much out of the opening book. That e3 line is pretty obscure. It's not the other lines. White is trying for more of an advantage. So this line presents no particular problems to black. Okay, so white just continues developing. We get some normal moves here. Knight f3. All the knights come out. Bishop to g4. I go for the pin. Bishop to e2, breaking the pin. And bishop to d6. Need to develop this bishop to an active square. He can always bring his knight in here to b5 to harass the bishop, but I'm not too worried about that. Castles, and now h3, kicking my bishop and asking it where it wants to go. So I want to keep the bishop active, and I thought I could just drop back to the g6 square, and this looks like a good diagonal for the bishop. So he goes a3. I think this is kind of a wasted move. Let's see, do they have a more active idea here? b3, the engine is recommending, or bishop d2. He needs to find a way to get this bishop into the game. That's White's big problem at the moment. And my advantage is that if I can play against this pawn structure here, keep his bishop in prison, that's good for me. And the pawn structure he goes for, this will show up later in the game, but he pushes a3 and b4, and that just keeps pawns on dark squares, keeping his bishop behind the wall of pawns. So it's not a particularly good setup. So anyway, now the engine likes the move a3. Bishop d2 or b3, I think, are a little more logical ways to play. b3 at least gives the bishop a square to go to. Okay, but a3 was played. I go rook e8, and I want to just try and keep a clamp on the e-file here and keep this square locked down. Now he goes b4, and I go knight e7. I'm getting the knight out of the way. I'm getting the knight over to the king side maybe for a king side attack, and freeing up the c-pawn to move so I can support my d-pawn with the c-pawn. He goes knight b5 now, chasing after my bishop, and I just kick it. I'm not too worried about losing this bishop at this point. Let's see. Yeah, the engine doesn't mind that either. It thinks it's about even. If we back up before a6, bishop takes f3 is one idea from the chess engine, or knight to c8. Knight to c8 is something I really did not think about at all. Knight to c8, and knight takes d6, knight takes d6. So I can take back with the knight on that square. Interesting. Okay, I just kicked the knight, just wanted to resolve these issues and get my queen active. He goes a4 here, advancing. I play c6, setting up a solid pawn structure here. And bishop to a3. Yeah, I guess I overlooked this move. This looks like a pretty good move from White. But I think it's my next move that gets me in trouble. Yeah, I get into trouble pretty shortly here. What I've been doing is I've sort of neglected to account for the discoveries. So when I drop my queen back to d7, my opponent has the move knight e5, which he spotted right away. Knight e5 is a double attack on my queen and my bishop. And I just moved my queen here. I think I didn't realize that my bishop was under-defended. It's attacked twice and only defended once. only the knight's defending it, and it's got 2 attackers. So if I had actually been aware of what was going on, I would have found this escape, I think. You know, my queen is under attack and my bishop is under attack, but I can escape both those threats by taking his bishop and attacking his queen. So now both queens are under attack, and neither queen goes with check. That's important, so there's no tempo moves. And so his best move, well, he could do either way. He could either take the queen, I take his queen, or he could take the bishop and I move my queen away. But either way, it's about equal. So that's the way to play it. After queen to e6, however, I'm just losing a piece, and there's just no way back. I'm just down a bishop here, and he's got an actively posted bishop. He's got a plan to push this pawn forward and free up the bishop, so it's not like I can keep that bishop prisoner forever. I kept on playing just to try and get something going. Sometimes there's still a lot of force. Sometimes you can create some complications, but in truth, I could have resigned in a clear conscience. He never lets me off the hook. So this is an example of good play from White here. He's just keeping his pieces together and not letting me get any tactics going. I did get to invade. I guess this is what I was starting to get a little bit optimistic about, that I might get some counter chances if I can invade and start pinning his pieces. But yeah, he defends with the rook, unpins the bishop, and you know, it's no easy way for me to add more force. If I bring the rook over here to try and attack the bishop, he can just move the bishop out of the way at this point. So I play h5, kicking his knight back, and you know, his pieces seem a little bit awkward at the moment, but but his knight is coming back into the game. So h4, he kicks my knight, and now my pieces are going backwards, and you know, I'm avoiding trades. That's the one thing. If you're playing for complications, you want to avoid trades unless they're significant benefit. You just keep playing for keeping the material on and trying to create a complicated structure and hope your opponent gets confused at some point. Anyway, I end up losing another pawn over there, and shortly, yeah, I sack a piece to try and create some complications, but that's no good. But it did open up a line here, so I guess I'm 2 pieces down, but I have an open file. You know, so it's worth trying, but he can defend. Once again, I want to keep the queen on, and let's see. Yeah, I'm still just 2 pieces down, and my attack has been completely stopped. He doesn't have any pawns left around his king due to my sacrifices, but the queen, the knight, and the bishop are doing a fine job of protecting over here, and he's got a free piece, the rook here, that can roam around, and he can start advancing these pawns. And that's his eventual strategy for winning the game, is he just pushes these pawns through, and I couldn't find a way to stop it. So at this point, I resigned. So a good game by Giro Savonarola, or his ghost. And hope you guys enjoyed this. Leave any comments you have in the section below, and I will see you again soon. Bye.